Samantha is a proud Cyclone alumna who says some of her greatest memories spent from the time spent under the grand old oaks by the Ashley. Throughout high school, Samantha German ran cross country and track and also played basketball. During her time at Porter, she was involved in many organizations, including the Watch Society, where she gave campus tours to new students and parents. Her senior year, she was humbled to not only receive the Kessler Award, but to also be crowned prom queen by her classmates. After Porter Gaud, Samantha graduated from the University of Georgia with a broadcast journalism degree from the prestigious Grady College. It was there on the Bulldog campus where she became founder and president of Simply Me, an organization geared towards bettering the lives of young women on college campuses. She is proud to say that the organization is still going strong today. Samantha currently lives in Syracuse, New York, where she says she's never seen so much snow in her life, and she works as a news reporter for CNY Central. Recently, she has even been spotted behind the anchor desk. We are all so proud of Samantha. Please join me in welcoming her to the podium.
Good evening, everybody. It feels so good to be back. There's so many memories flooding me right now. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you tonight. I want to say thank you to Lisa Ward and Catherine Sherritt and the Egglestons for opening up your home. I am truly honored and humbled that you've chosen me to speak to you tonight, so thank you. When I was asked to come back and talk about my high school career here and how it has been fundamental, and I mean absolutely fundamental in my path that I've taken for my career, I immediately thought of one person whose experience stuck with me. And her name was Jacqueline. She wore plain and simple clothing, but when I looked into her eyes, I could tell her life was just the opposite, hard and painful. She told me how she went to jail for a domestic dispute with her husband. Then she shared happy moments with me about her only child, Malachi. She made sure to point out her son's name was spelled just like the character from the Bible. Jacqueline told me she ended up in the homeless shelter because she couldn't go back to her past relationship. She said there was nothing left for her there. And when I asked about her future and where she would like to go someday, the conversation took an unexpected turn. With hope that lit up her eyes, she looked at me, smiled, and said, "I want to go to Venice. You know, the place where all the water and the man rowing the boat with the striped shirt on, that's where I want to go." I know you're probably thinking, who in the world is Jacqueline? Well, she's a woman that I met when I was in high school, and I met her through a class I took right here at Porter. To this day, I can't remember if it was my English class or my journalism class, but I know that Mrs. Reinhold taught it. And in this particular assignment, we had to go to a homeless shelter and ask people who lived there about their lives and how they ended up in their current situations. We were then supposed to come back and write a paper on the person that we interviewed that day and share it with the rest of the class. And to be honest, I was uncomfortable. I didn't want to do it at all. I didn't know how to walk up to a complete stranger who was having a bad day and a bad situation and say, "Hey, I don't know you. You don't know me, but how'd you end up here?" Felt a little invasive. Not knowing this day would change me, I went, reluctantly. And as I sat with my group around a lady named Jacqueline, I watched and listened and became in complete awe of this woman who had lost nearly everything but somehow still managed to smile and have hope for tomorrow. I remember leaving the shelter with this bolt of energy inside of me. I rushed to get home to write her story. I couldn't wait to share it with the rest of the class. It was from this pivotal moment in my life that confirmed I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to share people's stories for a greater impact. I wanted to inspire, like Jacqueline had moved and inspired me. So from there, I did everything in my power to get there. I wanted to be a voice to the voiceless. So with the help of a great friend, Dylan Morgan, and Miss Frazier, we started up a little something called PGTV. And I'm sure that's not really ringing a bell right now. That's because only one episode aired. At the time, we thought it was amazing, but it was the first and the very last. And even though we worked hard on it between our classes and extracurricular activities, it just never really picked up the momentum we would have liked it to. But it was okay, because we were still given the opportunity to express ourselves behind a makeshift anchor desk, even if it was only for just one time. And that was just like the staff and faculty here at Porter Gaud. Everyone was, and I'm sure still is, willing to support your dreams. I went to Porter Gaud from 1st to 12th grade. And from a young age, my parents taught me the importance of hard work. They drilled it over and over to me that in order to get something I wanted out of life, I would have to work for it. They made it very clear there were no easy shortcuts. And even though they said it time and time again, they lived it day after day. My dad was a banker for over 20 years, and when I was younger, he also worked at ABC News 4 as a cameraman at the same time. So every morning, he would wake up at the crack of dawn, go to the news station, and sometimes in the summer, he would take me before summer camp, and I think that's where I was introduced to the crazy, fast-paced world of news in the studio. So every morning, he would wake up and go to the studio, and then work an 8-hour day as a banker. My mom was always working in a lab as a histologist, looking under a microscope every day, cutting and staining tissues, and let's just say I never got that smart, sciencey genetic side. I didn't have that in me. They led by example of what sacrifice meant. It wasn't about a huge house or a foreign, classy car. My parents told me they wanted to give me a life they never had. They fixated that their one and only would have the best, no matter what. And for them, the number one priority was an education. And thank you for that. And I think from that reason, I felt the need to challenge myself and always just push myself and fill up my schedule. I didn't want their backbreaking work to go in vain. So I did cross country, basketball, and track in that order, year round. And stay up late to study for tests. Sometimes I was so tired and nervous all the time, anxious. Like, who wins most stressed as a senior superlative? Me. I was the winner. I didn't know that was an option. I was always so nervous to perform in my games and class presentations because I really wanted to do well. And the irony in everything is that public speaking is the one thing that makes me nervous. I go out and report on hardcore crimes like armed robberies and kidnaps in temperatures below zero, and right now I am literally shaking in front of you tonight. So every year when we did poetry out loud, of course I had to pick the lengthy poems I could relate to, like Still I Rise by the phenomenal Maya Angelou, and A Song in the Front Yard by Gwendolyn Brooks. I would be shaking while performing it, and into the poem my adrenaline's going, I'm getting into it. I would be surprised when my friends at the end would be like, Sam, that was great. You did really well. Really? Thank you, because I thought I was going to pass out. Thanks. Even though I was terrified, I was passionate, following that little something inside that would just light up. And like Lisa just read, thank you for that, some of my greatest memories were beyond these grand oaks by the Ashley. It was here that I had my first memory of being an Indian in the Thanksgiving play and an angel in the Christmas play. It was here that I joined sports teams and practiced every single day with teammates that turned into lifelong friends that eventually turned into family. And it was here that I got a chance to experience and explore other cultures firsthand for the first time by traveling to Rome, Italy for our ancient history class with Dr. Mack for 2 weeks. And it was here that I got booed off stage singing Killing Me Softly at the middle school talent show. To me, Porter Gaud is more than a school. For me, it was more than a high school experience of homecoming week, pep rallies, and basketball games. And yes, all of that was major, my teenage years, very major. But it's the solid foundation of family and values that brought me up. And to me, that was much, much greater. It was the words from my parents and teachers that inspired me. The Dr. Macks, the Julie Ellisons, the Sue Chansons. Instilling in us every day the beauty of creativity and the power of an education. Actions of giving back to our community weekly, with after-school programs like Head Start and dances for the Special Olympics. It was the thoughts of the ambition engraved in me by my parents, the brave characters, and the many famous and adventurous books and poems we read in our courses. Habits and the endurance we learned in those long cross-country and track practices as the Coach Sallies and the Coach Wrights pushed us forward, no matter how much we thought we didn't have any more in us to give. All of this was woven and stitched in me like that maroon gray in the plaid skirts I would wear daily. Porter Gaud embodies success, but not the superficial success of money. I'm talking about the success of inspiration and the color of life. That historical watchtower outside stands for the future of where I'm going and the past to never forget where I've come from. It's from that success that I've truly been blessed and fortunate enough to be in Syracuse just 1 year out of college, freezing my tail off, doing what I love to do. It's amazing that just 5 years ago, I was here with my classmates a couple of days before graduation. We were so excited, wide-eyed, so green and fresh. We were nervous to fail, yet anxious to succeed. And those same feelings came back my first day on the job in Syracuse. Looking back now, I would tell you, students here today, the younger me, to just calm down. Calm down. Everything is going to work out, even in that chaotic moment where you feel like nothing ever possibly could. Keep the faith and positivity when only one episode of PGTV airs in your own lives, or when you're shaking behind that podium, or even when you make a national blooper reel twice for messing up on national television. Find that inner Jacqueline inside of you, because we all have her somewhere down in us. Always stay hopeful and always give back for tomorrow. Because if little old me can make it to my dream career at just the age of 23, then I'm trusting and I know that you can too. Thank you.